it was a 2 hour rant. And YouTube cut it off to about 1 minute and 30 seconds. And I don't know what's wrong with YouTube, or maybe I said something there, and maybe it's for the best. But in short, I just want to recap the ideas that I was talking about there, and why Jesus did not return like they expected, because they wanted Jesus to come. They were thinking that, at least in our understanding, Jesus would come with fire, right, and destroy the world. And that's not what he wants. In my understanding of Jesus, he doesn't want to burn anything, he doesn't want to destroy anything, he doesn't judge, he doesn't condemn. And the true God, the Father, Abba, and which he represents according to his life, wants to restore things, wants to make things better, heal. He wants to heal. He wants to reconstruct, rebuild, restructure, rehabilitate. This goes from the soul to the physical. He doesn't want to destroy anything, and because the power of destruction is and death is not of the Father. The Father is about life, and when something is ruined, he doesn't see it as a hopeless cause that you have to destroy. He can remake it, like what he did with Paul. And I know some people out there don't believe that Paul is a good representative of Jesus, but there are things that people miss in his teachings and take in the wrong way. But that's for another topic. So coming back to Jesus, he said that I kind of forgot what I said there, but there are things that he said which makes us think that he was not coming to rule over humans, but instead he gave rulership to humans. So he took rulership from Yahweh, because the cross kind of made the old the law obsolete, right? Or you could say he disproved the Torah. He fulfilled the Torah because it was a contract, right? So he fulfilled it. It's over. So anyone who who comes to him, it said that anyone who is in Christ is no longer of the old, right? So it's like Paul made it sound like the husband dies, right? And then you are remarried to Jesus. So now you belong to his kingdom and not to the law or the Torah, right? So there's a lot of things in the what Jesus said and what Paul said that maybe it was hard for the apostles and the other Jews in the past to understand. So, and they even killed Stephen because of what he said. Like, the temple is not even for the Father, right? It does not even made for the Father. So, because the Father doesn't need temples. And Jesus gave the authority to them, right? He said, whatever you bind on the earth will be bound in heaven. So whatever we agree on the earth will be acknowledged by heaven. So if we say, let's say, okay, we can eat now these kind of foods, right? So heaven will agree with that. And he actually, there's a lot of evidence that shows that the Torah is over. That contract between uh, the Hebrews and Yahweh was over because Jesus was already fulfilled that. And I don't know, for us Gentiles, so-called Gentiles, I don't know if we have anything to be part of that, because for us, I think for us Gentiles is the understanding of what God is, of who God is, that God is love, and he doesn't take offense. Like he can take whatever offense you I mean, they nailed him to the cross, beat him, mocked him. And this is supposed to be God, right? Jesus is supposed to be the representation of God, a living representation of God. And if you think that a temple would bring you curse if you defile it, or an image of a god, if you defile it, it's going to bring down thunder from heaven. This is a living representation of God that they actually crucified, beaten, and mocked. And God did nothing. That doesn't mean that God is weak, or that God is, did not exist. But in the context of the old understanding about God, what Jesus showed in the cross is actually a message, right, to everyone, that God loves us regardless, right, in spite of the ideas that we have of Him and ourselves. So that's why it brings it makes His command to love each other so much more meaningful, because He says God loves you, everyone, and you're just missing the point about God. So here's the truth about God. So now love each other like I love you. So it makes more sense than having all of these laws and stuff that gets you stoned when you make a mistake, or make you feel like you're not that God doesn't love you, because He does, right? He's everywhere. He's everything, right? And we are His children. We are part of His creation, because when we create something, like me, it's part of me. And even if my creation makes a mistake, I know what I made, right? And I can actually fix that, even if it took a lot in our view of what God did. But I think to Him it was nothing. Like, of course He felt every fear and anxiety when He was here, but that's not for Him. That's for us to see, to awake to the fact that this is what we're doing to each other, right? So Jesus also said that in a parable, He said that the kingdom of heaven is like a mustard seed that grows to a giant tree, where even the birds will rest on it, right? So it's not the Old Testament image of the kingdom, where it's a rock that falls down from the heavens and destroys the 10 toes and the entire empire of the earth, and then transforms itself into this mountain, right, where Yahweh reigns. It's different. So Jesus' view of what He's bringing about into the earth, into our world, is different than what the Old Testament kinda told them, what the God of the Old Testament is going to bring, and how He's going to bring it. There's a huge difference there. Like growing from within, growing from the earth to become a tree where everything, even the birds, would find shelter in it, that everyone can find shelter in that kingdom, right? There's a difference between that and having something that destroys everything and then becomes a mountain, imposing mountain, right? So to me, this idea of the little season is connected, since it's connected to the return supposedly of Jesus in the 70 AD, they say, which like caused the destruction of all those cities and towns and kingdoms in the past. I don't think Jesus did that. He actually gave the authority to them. If not to all of us, he gave it to them. Like, now it's your turn. It's your turn to rule. It's your turn to decide your fate. But the important thing is to love each other, to make caring for each other the core of every activity that we're doing. So, which is something we failed today, like epic fail today. Like we're all like being drawn into this wrong idea, and I don't think that's because we are being deceived. It's simply because, when you when humans when we dwell in this fear, in this drive to fulfill a prophecy from an ancient time, a time of scarcity, a time of chaos, like murder and all of this ancient wars that they had to do. They took property from other nations, like slaughtered everyone. It came from there. They didn't have the technology or the idea, the vision that we can actually create things that we don't have to destroy another person, right? And all of these things that they're doing right now comes from greed and fear and all that, right? And it's causing a lot of problems in our world. Like, for example, when we create products right now from China or anywhere, and even software, right? Even Windows and all of these iPhones, they intentionally make these devices become obsolete through software, which is crazy. And in turn, we're going to have to keep producing, keep running the companies, keep running the factories, consuming all of these products, these raw materials. We're doing all of this, and it's crazy. It's crazy, and for what, right? For power? I don't know. I don't know what's going on with the richest people out there. Why they have to compete with each other, right? And if they did unite, why they want to? It seems to step or like keep us who are lower in power even lower. Like, I don't know why all of these things are going on, but I don't think Jesus has the heart to destroy even an evil world like us, like ours. Like, there must be a better way, and I think he believes that we are capable of doing great things if we just develop ourselves, our minds, if we just wake up, right? We just work with each other in love, caring for each other. I think because he said, like, if you have faith like a mustard seed, you can like move this mountain, tell this mountain to move, right? So he's saying we have the capacity If we just fix our brains, if we just fix our minds, we can do things. Like we're doing great things right now, but in the wrong avenues, like making weapons, burning, causing harm here, there. Just you know what I'm talking about. It's the world is almost like it's almost like we are mad. Humanity is mad, crazy. I don't know what's going on. But again, so that's I think that was all that I was trying to say in the previous video. Like, if you look at the nature of God through the truth of Jesus, and this truth is found in his life, in his words, and what he did to people, how he treated people, how he reacted, I think we can see that he wouldn't come after the destruction of the temple and burn everything. Okay, so, but there is someone who said that he's going to rise from the earth and burn everything, and that's Yahweh. Okay, so in the Old Testament, there's a passage there where there's this hope that Yahweh, because of his great anger, right, he's going to emerge from the earth and burn everything that people has done, like all of their images and their beautiful buildings. He's going to burn it because I don't know why. Maybe he hates our creativity or our I don't know why it's so he wants to burn everything. And I think that has to do with I think the mud flood theory, right, tells that there was this, and there's all this like melted structures, uh, maybe, right, there's a few there, but there could be other causes to that, but I don't know. I haven't delved deep into that. I need more examples. Like, it has to be global, it has to be worldwide, and it has to be like more obvious than what's being shown us right now. There are these great the mud flood, if it was true. I think it happened. They say it happened like just recently, like in the 1700s, right? So it's possible that when Yahweh was freed, so he rose from the earth, right, and burned everything. And I think that's what caused the mud flood or the melted buildings. It's not actually Jesus coming in the first century that caused that. I think my belief is that my idea is that there Christianity wasn't defeated in the first century. People actually began to work with each other, right? Instead of Rome like crumbling, I don't think that happened. I don't have proof for this, but this is the only explanation that I can think why we have all of this Renaissance beautiful buildings, and they had technology that seems to be connected to the ancient technologies that built the pyramids. The Tiwanaku, like the Tiwanaku was like first century structures. Those were like amazing structures. Like, we can't build those right now, right? So it's possible that they already had technology in the past. Like, Jesus did not come to a place where all of these like shacks and like stone stuff, right? There must be buildings in those times that, because even the temple, the second temple, it has like stones that are so heavy that in the bedrock, right, in the floor, the base, like in the Greece and Rome, right? There's this heavy stones there that would be impossible to carry without like heavy machinery. I don't know if I'm correct about this, but it seems to me that they have means in the past that we don't have right now to create all of these buildings, magnificent buildings. And I don't think that was a product of like Jesus returning, the second return. Maybe they already have that, and Jesus came to the world in that setting. Like in the setting when Jesus came, there was already all of this magnificent buildings, and then those technology existed afterwards. After, like, say the communities that were growing around the first century actually became like it didn't like die out. It wasn't snuffed out. It became like widespread, and then they built communities that are actually working, actually followed the community guidelines that was, started by the apostles. And so they made all of these beautiful buildings with the technology that they had. This is just an idea of mine, right? So I think you get where I'm going with this. So they had all of these buildings now, right? The beautiful buildings, aqueducts and stuff, and they lived a life of almost peace, right? But not really, because there will always be people outside that will not agree with your community, and there would be other nations that would be jealous of your progress and would want to take, right? And they would share their beliefs to them, but they would have nothing to do with it. They just want to plunder, right? So maybe at that point, slowly, that was the rise of Yahweh from the earth. And then he burned all of it through all of this chaos that he was actually had. Because Rome, I think Rome was actually stable at that point, right? Rome was widespread at that time. And maybe what we are told about Rome is not true, not completely true. Like these characters that we read about, Caligula and all of that, maybe they don't actually exist. Maybe the persecution of the Christians did not exist. Maybe there was a time, but because of that, like, people saw the evil of Rome, and so they kind of became convinced that, okay, so this is no good. So let's do things differently now. Let's build communities, and this looks good. Let's share each other's, help each other. And so they built all of this cities, maybe, that had all of these wonderful buildings, cathedrals with all this like resonance stuff, right? And this all ties to the past, ancient past, right? Because even in the Egyptian pyramids, they also have this sound thing, that frequency thing that they kind of know. Like they have these symbols, right? Even in the Celtic symbols and all that, they have all of this stuff. They know, they kind of know stuff that we don't right now. Like these are like physics stuff that we see in like crop circles and stuff. So it's kind of, all of these are connected in some way, and you know maybe the simplest answer to that is because we always had this. We just don't have it right now. Like we kind of lost it, or it's been hidden from us. And so again, I think That's the rise of Yahweh was the cause. Like when he was released, his influence spread right again. So there was evil again. So the peace that the apostles established, the communities that they built, slowly was erased because the teaching of Jesus was no, don't fight, right? If they want to take you, just give it. So when all of these evil people rose, I don't think the Christians fought like the Romans fought the barbarians, right? Uh, when the invasion of the Hunnic invasion occurred, Rome supposedly fought in many uh, in the Constantinople and in the east and south, east and west. They supposedly held off those attacks, but I don't know. Maybe the Christians just left those cities when they were attacked, and then those people took over, and then they started fighting each other and wrote the history that we have today. So they were fighting each other. Those people who are influenced by the dark side, the spirit of Yahweh, the spirit of destruction and war and law and establishing of an empire. I think that's Yahweh's desires. That's his orders from El, right? To take charge, to inherit the nations, and to take charge and to bring order, right? That was his charge. That was his order from El. I don't know if you know that. I think it's in the Psalms, right? Like El stood in this council and he saw all the other gods and he was disappointed with them because the poor, the fatherless, they were left without justice. So he called Yahweh up. So he said, "Rise up, Yahweh, because you're going to inherit the nations." So he's saying, you're in charge now. You're gonna do this now. You're gonna fix what your brothers have failed to do. So I think that's what he was doing, and I don't know what happened to him, that he became too extreme and he kind of loved maybe the power. Maybe he thinks that his way is the only way to bring structure to the earth. But Jesus already disproved that by dying on the cross. So anyway, I think that's it for me for now. We have visitors here. Reyes Vlog. Hello. Hello, Reyes. Sorry ngayon ko lang nabasa yung mga ano nyo. Yes, I am Tagalog po, sir. I am Filipino po. CN Krill, hello. Ricky Corsino, hello. We love you. Yes, I love you too, guys. Admin Department Filipino. Yes. Why is that very important? Admin. I'm not racist, or I'm not exclusive or separatist or isolationist. I kind of believe that whatever means that language can be a barrier, but we Filipinos, we can speak English and Tagalog, right? So if I speak in Tagalog, it would be easier for me, but it would be harder for other people to join in. So my thinking is to use whatever means that opens doors to other people, whoever they are. So I hope that doesn't offend you. It doesn't mean that I don't honor our own language. It's just that I don't care. whatever whatever it takes to join us together in love. That is my goal. And to remove, to wake us up to a higher way of thinking, away from our beastly nature. Because like animals, animals, they just, even if they're full, they will fight for the food that they don't need. And I don't think that's good for us humans. And like billions of money you steal from other people, right? What for? Right? Instead of building something, like instead of planting a tree that will feed your entire nation for thousands of years, you take the seed and cook it and eat it for your dinner. How stupid is that? Anyway, that's it for me for now, and I'll see you guys next time. I hope YouTube will not destroy this video, and I hope I didn't say anything offensive. And my goal actually is for us to be like, it's been 2,000 years, like let's say 1,000 years, okay, and we're still not there in our thinking when it comes to living with other humans. Okay, I hope we can remove all of this sociopathy and psychopathy and narcissism in our relationships. Okay, and finally, just think about how we can develop everything for everyone. Okay, so hope you guys have a nice day.